I'm glad you came out for a walk with me today. I have to say, I find the subject of magical creatures very interesting. The diversity of our magical world is truly amazing, don't you think? Of course you're right. But you know, I've always thought of Muggles as the real losers. They live in a world without magic, without the great opportunities that are open to us wizards. I think Muggles are just parasites, weaving in and out of our society, but never able to master the true power of magic. There's no need for that. We are wizards, the highest class of people. Why would we waste our skills on those who will never understand or appreciate their value? Muggles are weak and incapable of anything meaningful on their own. You're probably too naive. Muggles are just parasites in our world, unable to understand the true power of magic. I see no value in wasting time and energy on them. We should strive for greatness, not get lost in empty attempts to help those who don't deserve that help. I hope you realize that. We are the chosen ones, and our destiny is destined for greatness. We should not be distracted by those below us in the hierarchy of magic. You are too soft for this world. Feelings of empathy are a weakness that makes us vulnerable. In our world, power and authority rule everything. Pity for Muggles is just extra ballast that keeps us from rising. You're talking about the impossible. Magic separates us from Muggles, and that separation cannot be ignored. We must value our heritage and not mix it with those who are not worthy of its gifts. Time will tell. But I do not believe such an alliance is possible. My goal is to magnify magic and pursue power, not to waste my efforts on those who cannot comprehend our greatness. Well, how about we take a little walk down this path? This place is truly amazing. I've always appreciated the silence and beauty of nature. But back to our conversation about magic, I'd like to know more about how you came to your views on magic and Muggles. Was there a particular moment in your life that influenced your beliefs? I, for one, have always seen myself as a great wizard, even from the beginning. I didn't believe in the limitations imposed by a population of Muggles and even wizards who believed that magic should be hidden from the world. I saw my abilities as a means to achieve greatness and power. You've always been an idealist, but ideals and reality are two different things. Magic is a power that you can use to achieve your goals, regardless of your moral beliefs. Power over others is true greatness. Time will tell which of us is right, but for now, let us enjoy this secluded place and the tranquility of nature around us. It's so beautiful here. Hey, be careful. Don't fall in the water. You don't want to spend hours drying your clothes, do you? Huh. And so, I've been thinking, how about we talk about spells? Like forbidden spells. Forbidden spells, that's an interesting topic. They've always fascinated me with their power and mystery. In the past, great wizards used forbidden spells to achieve unimaginable magical power. Some of them were linked to dark artifacts capable of bringing infinite power to whoever dared to use them. That's right, many of these spells were too dangerous, and their knowledge could lead to disastrous consequences. However, even though they were forbidden, there were those who sought ways to bypass these restrictions, explore the forbidden tomes, and gain unimaginable magical power. Each wizard chooses his or her own path in the study of magic. But I have always believed that true power lies in knowing and understanding every aspect of magic, including those considered forbidden. Knowledge of forbidden spells allows one to understand the nature of magic more deeply and use that mark to achieve one's goals. But of course, it requires extreme caution and wisdom. That's a good question. This is where the true nature of a wizard is revealed. The ability to control one's desires, restrain one's ambitions, and not let magic turn against others is what makes a great wizard. Using magic for good purposes and protecting those who are weaker is a sign of true wisdom and greatness. You express very wise words. But remember that not everyone in the world shares your views. There will always be those who seek power for their own gain, even if it means using forbidden spells. Okay, let's talk about nature and the world around us. Look at those trees, listen to the sound of the leaves, smell the earth. Nature is something wonderful and great. It has its own magic, even though we can create spells and charms. Nature teaches us the importance of balance and interconnectedness of all living things. Everything in this world is connected, and each element has a role to play. What are you asking? My relationship to my allies. Well, my relationship with my allies has always been complicated. I prefer to keep everyone at a distance and use them for my own purposes. For me, allies are a means to achieve power and greatness. I've always been convinced that the weakness of allies can become my own weakness, so I try not to trust anyone completely. In the life of a wizard, such connections are a luxury I cannot afford. Trust can be used against you, and I don't intend to risk my safety. I prefer to keep my thoughts and plans secret and act alone. I'm not afraid of challenges. I believe in my abilities and willpower. Loneliness makes me stronger because I can fully focus on my goals without being distracted by connections with others. I don't look for support in other people. I find it in myself. Your words are interesting, but I prefer to stay away from weak and unreliable ties. There have been many instances in the history of magic where trust in someone else has led to betrayal and death. I am confident that the uniqueness of my abilities and knowledge makes me powerful, and I do not intend to risk it by revealing my secrets to anyone else. Okay, let's finish our conversation. Let's spend some time in the solitude of nature, enjoying the tranquility of this place. Let's lie down and just stare at the leaves, discussing our thoughts and observations. The world around us is so great and mysterious, and together we can think about its mysteries.